The joint, not the joint. The point of this video, I have with me the Canon R3. I don't know if you can see it. I have it right here. Hopefully it gets back in focus. It's over here. Hopefully everything comes back in focus. I have my Canon R3, and I think it is the appropriate time to do a review on this camera. I have had this camera for easily maybe a year. You know what I'm saying? At least at the top of it last year. So probably I would say I got it April of 2023. So not a year exactly. I am here to tell you this camera is amazing. I'm here to tell you that it is not, it may be overkill for the average photographer. But if you're serious about photography, go ahead. It is expensive. All right, so let's get into it. So what did I have before that? Before that, I had the Canon R5. Let me show you because I got a picture of it. And off bat, I have to say that the R5 and the R3, it's totally night and day as far as like size and everything. If you could see, and hopefully this is in focus, the R3 is twice as tall, it seems like, or at least like 50% taller. The width is probably about the same. Difference in weight, there's a huge difference, not nothing crazy. I will say with the Canon, the 70 to 200 lens feels a lot better clearly on a bigger camera than the R5. So how did I get from the R5 to the R3? Because it's not really necessary. Let's keep it a buck. Oh, and before we get started on that, shout out to, I think it's called Lifeguard or AlphaGuard is what I Googled, and I think Lifeguard is the bigger company, but AlphaGuard, shout out to them. I just put a skin on the camera. Shout out to Designs by JK in Charlotte. I've been shooting with him for a couple years now, and he has it on his Sonys. And when I first got on AlphaGuard, it wasn't that many Canons they had available. And so I wasn't pressed on putting it on there because I'm about to get into it. I really didn't like the R5. Keep it a buck. So I really didn't want to put it on there because I was contemplating selling or doing something else with my R5s. And for Christmas, I asked for a skin for my R3. My pops got it for me. It's super dope. I will say, get the tweezers. I did. My pops did. Take your time. Plan out 2 hours to put this on. Put on some music. Turn on the news. Take you 2 hours to plan and put it on. I will say for the grip parts of this camera, I did not put it on. A, because I didn't want to, because it's a very similar texture. And B, I didn't know how comfortable I felt using like either a hair dryer or whatever. And it says some heat gun. I don't know. I ain't feel like doing it. Plus, I put it on one part of my camera and it's slippery more than the other parts without the grips on it. So I chose not to do it. Hopefully y'all could see this. But anyway, that might be goofy. And I hope I'm not throwing these things in and out of focus. All right, cool. At least I know that camera's on focus. Anywho, for the most part, I have to say for 99.9, probably 99% of putting the skin on, fit perfectly. There was one part where it did not fit correctly, and I had to use some scissors to cut. And it wasn't a big deal. And you know, my favorite part about these things is, I said it earlier, if you don't want to put something on there, you don't have to. And if you do mess up, it's easier to take, remove, and like scoot it over, do whatever. Please make sure your camera is clean. They give you very clear instructions. The instructions were amazing. I was not confused. And when I did mess up and I was like, dang, the instructions wasn't like clear, I realized I didn't read those instructions. So, 100% recommend. I will say, AlphaGuard, I don't know who y'all are. Y'all did not pay me to do this. If I can give y'all one, suggestion, I believe y'all should charge a little bit more and allow people to upload their own skin, and it's just a sheet, right? Like y'all know the sheet. And they can see what it looked like on the sheet. I think that'll be super dope. You should let them know like, hey, photos might not look that best. I don't want photos, but I was thinking about different textures I might want to do or try out. And I think, regular, I'll be honest, this costs $69 plus $3 for the tweezers and everything. So it's around $75 total. And I think if you say, hey, it's $100 for you to upload on your own, I think people might go for it. I don't know, but definitely check them out. All right, back to what I was going to talk about. The R3. Well, let's get to the R5. So I had the R5. I bought the R5 because before this, I was shooting with the 5D Mark IV, which is Canon, don't kill me. Still my favorite camera of all time. Hands down. The colors was amazing. It was heavy as hell. If I could get the 5D Mark IV colors with the live view, like kind of how I could see the preview of the shot before I take it in here, that'd be the best camera of all time. Sorry, it's still my favorite camera. But, excuse me, I thought I had this moment where I was like, oh, you got to upgrade. You got to change your cameras. Like whatever you're growing in your business, you're full time, get an R5. Got the R5. And when I first got the R5, my problem was there were not any color profiles on Lightroom for the R5 at that point, which I thought was a big mix up. But shout out to Color Fidelity. I believe that's the name of the company. I got that. Cool. The color still was wonky, but I'm going to be honest with you. I had a trash computer screen. Take my review with a grain of salt. And I didn't like it. I didn't like the colors. I was still doing great work, still getting booked, but my colors, it was really me. I was literally shooting. I was editing in Lightroom on one computer. And then once it came to do like my Photoshop edits, I was using a Mac. I don't believe you could beat a Mac screen. So other than that, I really just didn't like the R5. I don't know why. It was light. I came from a heavy camera. I went to something that was almost felt like a toy. Even in my hand now, my son walks around with this camera, and I ain't trying to like stun or anything. And I think that's kind of disrespectful to say, but my son walks around with this camera because it's like a little baby camera, which I know a lot of people like and love. Me personally, I like big, bulky cameras. And I started using this for my videos, for my podcast. That was the other thing. And I was not ready to invest into a cinema camera, which I have right here in front of me. Shout out to the C70. Don't ask. And yeah, so I'm applying for a grant. Let's get into the truth of the matter. I'm applying for a grant, and they asked me what kind of camera did I want. How truthful we want to be. I win this grant, and all I do is I go on Canon's website and I type in cameras and I sort it from most expensive to the cheapest. And I go on there, and the most expensive camera is the R3, or I think the 1D Mark II or Mark whatever it was, the newest one. It just dropped. Only reason why I got this camera is because, well, I mean, if we being real, mirrorless is the future. That is, I believe AI is going to be the future. Y'all don't know how to edit. Y'all using retouchers, so whatever. But mirrorless is the future. So I got the camera, and the first reviews I was looking up was, what's the difference between an R5 and an R3? Every video was trying to hurry up and get out there quick because people can't afford this. I want to say this is like $7,000. You cannot afford this camera. Most people cannot. Most people can afford this camera, the R5. And most people just can't afford this. And both of them expensive as hell. So I knew I wanted this R3. I got it. And all the videos were saying, hey, cool camera, overkill, can do this. Here's a link. And when I see that in videos, that lets me know that people have found a way to say, all right, I'm going to talk them out of the expensive one because I know only 5% of photographers can probably afford this one. So let me encourage all of them to go get this, and maybe I can get my Amazon referral bonus. Cool. I'm here to tell you, bump this camera. This is the truth. The colors is amazing. Like I said, it's a bulky camera. It's cool. My number one thing about this camera is the video. There's no video limit. Sorry, it's no video limit on this camera. And that for me was the biggest game changer. My first time using this camera wasn't for photo. It was for me to record my podcast. For the whole 2003 since I got this, if you've seen video, it's been shot on this camera. I shoot in 4K. This camera is it. Shout out. So let me give you an example. This is a cinema camera, shout out, which is shot in 4K. They shot in the same modes. This is the C70. This is the Canon R3. I got this C70 probably a month ago. And honestly, I should just got another one of these. I'm not trying to be a cinematographer, to be real. So please take this as a grain of salt from a photographer and a photographer's needs who might want to do some short videos. I don't like shooting in log, which I have to color grade. I love that I can shoot in log. I was about to cuss in log. But I usually don't. So having this is perfect. I love the colors. I love how it's in focus. It reads well. The only scary thing about this camera is you can go, if you ever get your hands on this camera, hold on, I'm trying to turn it on to see. You can go to the gear sign, and maybe it's on the R5. I have to see. And you can use your eye as a focus mechanism. What does that mean is you can go, it's under not touch control. This, I should have already had this pulled up. Maybe it's not under the gear. Now I feel trash because I'm trying to tell y'all something that I don't know where it's at on this camera. But anyway, you can use your iris to literally move. Wherever your eye looks, it will chase that and focus on that. Damn, I don't know where it's at. And it's super cool. It is super scary and it's super annoying when you find it. Oh, yeah. You got to be on photo mode. Sorry, I was on video mode. You can go to eye control. You could turn it on. And wherever your eye looks at, it will jump over there to hurry up and focus on whatever. For somebody who has stigmatism like me and my eyes move, this is the worst thing. So I accidentally turned this mess on at a wedding. And when I say I could have ran, I ran actually to hurry up and get my other R3 and started shooting, swap cars over, and I started shooting that way, which was fine. And then I found out later during the reception, like why I was doing that. And it was cool, but I love the camera. I will say, going to video modes, let me show you all the video modes you could shoot in. So I could just say, so you could shoot in 4K. You can shoot up, you could shoot in full 1080p if you need to. You could shoot in 60 frames. You could shoot clearly 30 and 24. They do have an option. I found it. I had to call Canon and get them on the phone. We were shooting in 25 frames. There's a lot of videos in depth about this, but I would say as a photographer, as far as the color profiles, as far as the sharpness, as far as how fast it is, the fastest lens I personally found on this was the 70-200, the RF lens. That thing is so doggone fast. This is being recorded, I think, on the 50, which is amazing. What else about this camera I love? I don't know. It's just a bomb camera. This is very much similar to the 5D Mark IV. And Canon probably don't want me to say that because I think they tried to model this after the 1D as their mirrorless version until they get it right. I can't say enough about this. And mind you, I got this one when Canon was still trying to figure out the heating mechanisms on that one and the firmware and all that other stuff. But this camera is amazing. If you can, please go to B&H or wherever you could try out cameras and just play around with it, yo. I can't say enough about this. When people always come up and they are like, oh, which one is that? I tell them and they ask me how it is. And literally I hand it to them. I'm like, you look at it, feel it. It feels amazing. That is enough trying to sell y'all on this camera. But shout out to AlphaGuard. This skin is fire. And I hope all of this is in focus so y'all can see it. Only thing I don't like about these is, hold on, I think you still got the same memory cards. Hold on. Yeah, you still got the same memory cards. I think this is the other thing that pissed me off with the R5. I didn't know they had the the type B cards. So when I bought it, I was so mad. It was so expensive. That ain't got nothing to do with Canon. That just got something to do with me being cheap and not factoring that in when you buy a new camera. It's a beautiful camera. Either one is either good for video, I have to say, because I want to say the R5, you can shoot in like 8K if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, let me see. I think the only thing I just didn't like about this is getting up at 25 minutes to go over there and turn off a camera. That's not cool, and I can't afford, somebody to come and do it. I don't even know how to use this camera no more. That's the craziest part. Hold on. Oh, shoot. All right, here we go. Let me go to video. I hope y'all doing good out there. Oh yeah. You can shoot an 8K on this, but who doing that? Who got a computer to do all that on?